What's up YouTube, we're back in this thing. Today we're going to be going over Lovers by Pi'erre Bourne. That project was insane. The editing in it's actually insane. Like there's no way I'm going to be able to break down every single effect in the music video, but I'm going to be going through and kind of showing you what all the editors, there's like 6 or 7 of them on that project, did to obtain an effect like that. So I'm just going to be going through and taking my best guess at what effects or where. I mean, they couldn't even break down what they did exactly. Like they would need the project files for you to be able to understand what was going on. So definitely less of a step-by-step tutorial today, more of a breakdown. So if you're not really advanced and like can't really make effects 100% by yourself, maybe this isn't the video for you. But if you want to learn some like secret sauce and kind of what the top of the top editors are doing, I mean, the guys that worked on this project are like absolutely nutty at editing. So shout out to all of them. We'll definitely pull up them and credit all of them in the description. So definitely be sure to follow them. But yeah, if you guys are new to the channel or haven't subscribed for some reason, because the majority of people that watch my videos are actually not subscribed to me. So go ahead and do that. Also, if this is your first video or you don't know what we're doing here, on my channel, we are uploading one video every day all of December. So 31 videos in 31 days, and we're calling it Tutorialmas. Basically what I'm saying is there's going to be at least one video out of these 31 videos that you enjoy, if not all of them. So that's more than enough reason to subscribe. All right, so hopping into the video here. Before I do that, actually, let's pull up Pi'erre Bourne and just credit all these people. So shot and edited by Marko Visuals, Nitetive, Lumbyst, Blkmoon.exe, DonVoitier, Visualzjr, and Zewakeup. Sorry if I said any of their names wrong, but definitely be sure to check them out. I'll also leave them in the description and stuff. So yeah, they had a total of 6 animators and editors. So 7 if you include Marko. So that is definitely very, very nuts. So hopping into After Effects, we're just going to kind of go throughout the video. I'm going to find effects that I know how to do, or effects that are similar, and show how to do them to the closest I can. So any of this 3D stuff here, I'm not going to be going over. It would just be a little too time consuming, and also I'm not really the best for 3D work. There's definitely some other people out on YouTube that you guys should check out for that stuff. So skipping ahead here, we're just looking here. So what they did to obtain this effect here is they used the rotoscope tool and basically just had the clip going crazy with like motion blur in the background. So that's something easy that you can do that's not too challenging. And then it looks like here they just had some color change, and again with the rotoscope tool, just copied and pasted the layer of the person multiple times behind it, and then added some kind of, maybe I would say they probably added some like universe chromatic aberration there to get that color. A lot of these effects that these guys are doing here are not going to be native to After Effects, meaning that they're in plugin form. So like Red Giant Universe, Sapphire, you know, the list goes on and on. A bunch of these different plugins that are for a little bit more advanced people, I would say. So I have Red Giant Universe and Sapphire here, and I'm going to be showing as much of the effects that I recognize as much as possible. So again, they'd use some color change. I'll go over how to do that. Let's just watch the video through first, and then I'll like show like a little demo of like a clip or something. I think that's probably the best way to do this, because there's just way too many effects to break down every single one. Some kind of color change or warp there. Maybe my best guess is maybe just adding some hue and saturation to a layer. I think maybe they masked out Pi'erre here and added some like just like weird like distort, maybe like turbulence displace and like hue and saturation to it, and then maybe even some like universe chromatic aberrations. And then something like this could be obtained digitally, or just like actually analog, taking a picture of him, putting a filter on it, printing it out, and then scanning it back over to the computer. I'm actually working on a texture pack right now with a bunch of paper rips, paper folds, tape stuff. There's gonna be over a few hundred assets in there, so I'll have that link below. It's not out at the moment, so if you're watching this in the first week and a half of the video coming out, probably not gonna be linked, but if you're watching it later, go ahead and check that out. But yeah, just basically they added some kind of filter, printed it out on paper, maybe even folded or just added some lines through it and scanned it back over. So a pretty simple effect there. And then here looks like they did some kind of turbulence displace, added some glow. So what they did is they rotoscoped out Pi'erre here, then put another clip of him behind, and then took the rotoscope layer of Pi'erre, added some turbulence displace or some kind of warp effect. That's how you can see like the jello. It's kind of like almost mimicking him. Maybe added glow, hue and saturation. My guess maybe some sapphire distort. But yeah, these are all just like my best guesses. Like I said, again, you would actually, like even the editors themselves would probably have to see the project files to know exactly what they did, where they keyframed, and all that stuff. And again, we are going to be going over and making our own version of one of these effects at the end of the video. So stick around for that. I definitely don't want to go through and explain the video without showing you at least a little bit of an example. But I know the more advanced editors will benefit from this video, kind of just understanding what they're doing, and then obviously you can put your own twist on it. And then right here, that is probably one of the most crazy effects on the video. So shout out to whoever actually did this one. I'm going to go ahead and just start listing off effects that I think would have a look like this. So first off the bat, rotoscope, and then they just moved the position of each and kind of copied a layer and added them. It almost looks like they incrementally added some kind of blur or something to each layer too. Like I said, again, some kind of RGB split or chromatic aberration, something like that of the sorts. In the background, I'm not exactly sure what kind of glob they came out with here, but it's like a glob that I don't know. I'm trying to think what it could be. Maybe it's just honestly a layer of the rotoscope and then kind of just like distort and adding like a bulge on the actual rotoscope layer of Pi'erre, adding some turbulence, displace, some hue and saturation, some glow, and then a few other probably just warp effects, and then kind of having it bulge out from behind them. I'm assuming this right here, this effect that they do throughout the video, is chromatic aberrations, because I'll show you in a second. Here, I'll drag it on. We can look. See, it has a similar effect. They probably just tweaked the settings a little bit, maybe added a little bit more lens distortion or just anything like that. You can add more blur. But yeah, they definitely didn't just use the default settings. That's how you can get something similar looking. Like I said, again, rotoscoping, moving. We can go over this effect at the end. This one seems doable for me. I think I could do something pretty similar in like a timely manner, because I do have to upload this video sometime soon. So right here, they have some kind of distort. Again, like I said, with the blur. Going in here, they rotoscoped out Pi'erre, copied and pasted it twice, and added 2 layers behind, kind of keyframed them to come out and then come back in. So the whole clip, like in the middle, is where the effect is like at its like peak, I guess. So it looks like they added some kind of blur, turbulence displace, maybe a little bit of glow. In the background, they changed the color of the sky to purple, and then probably like pre-comped all that and slapped some chromatic aberrations or some kind of channel split on the effect. But let's stop trying to guess what they're doing and just kind of make something. Let's make something similar to what they're doing here. All right, so we're gonna use this clip. I was finally able to find a clip with no effects, it looks like. So we're just gonna split this up so it's like its own clip, kind of like how you'd be editing a video. There we are. And the first thing I'm gonna do is click on the layer and go to rotoscope, tool up here, double clicking on here. And the thing with rotoscope too is what you're gonna wanna do is do the best possible job you can for the first frame. And then it should be able to do a pretty good job of keeping the track. So I'm just gonna make sure, zooming in here with scroll wheel and then holding H on my keyboard to move around. All right, so that looks pretty good. What you can do is go frame by frame if you really want, and fix each frame to make it look the best. And if you are doing this as an effect for your video, I would recommend taking a lot of time and being like super specific about this, because the cleaner the roto brush, the effect's just gonna look that much better. Like, they did a really good job rotoscoping in this music video, so that's why the effects look so clean. But like I always say, for the sake of tutorial, I'm gonna be just going pretty quick. It is doing a pretty good job though, so it's not gonna look terrible. And there we are. Once you are done with that, you can go ahead down here and click freeze. What that's gonna do is just kind of lock in the keyframes and make it into its own layer and remove the background. And then you can go ahead and close out of this layer and see what it looks like. So that looks pretty good. You can change a few effects here, maybe like feather it a little bit, and then I'm gonna edge shift in a little bit just because you can see like the sky and stuff behind. And that's what my rotoscope came up with. Like I said, spend a little bit more time on your video, but that is good for right now. So then I'm gonna click on this layer and Control D it. That way you have a background layer, and then we can delete the roto brush off behind it. So that way it looks like a normal clip, but the top layer right here is actually just Pi'erre. So I think we're gonna do that one where Pi'erre, 2 clones of them come out from each side. So I'm going to count how many frames are in each clip. If you hold shift and then left click here, that'll go 10 frames forward. So we'll just count 10, 20, 21, 22. So 11 frames in, we're gonna go. That's 10, and then one more is 11. And then we can go ahead and duplicate this layer twice. So you have 2 clones behind him and then the top layer. Actually, for right now, you can just do one because we can copy and paste the effects to make it a little bit faster. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go right to the beginning actually and keyframe all these points, then go 11 frames in, because this is where you want it to change. You can actually at the same time copy and paste the 0. So what that's doing is if everything's default here, it will go back to the position where he's at. So like the clones will go back to behind him. Now going 11 frames in, you can click on the layer and you can drag them out however much you want. And then I'm going to do a little bit of rotation. Drag them out a little bit more. Something like that looks good to me. And then we can see. It looks good, but it's a little slow. He had it kind of bounce, like it was like here. Then like you would start seeing them right here, and it bouncing. So what we're going to do is highlight these keyframes here. If you hold Control, go to Keyframe Assistant, and then Easy Ease them. That's going to do a little bit better of a job here. But if you want to get a little bit better of a result, you can highlight all these keyframes and then go to the graph editor right here. And then we're just going to click this keyframe on the middle side and drag them both in, so it will speed up the process for position. So it'll go kind of slow here, fast, and then fast again, and then back in. So we can see what that looks like. That's looking a lot more like what he did. You can even do it a little bit more intensely if you want. Something like that. I think that looks pretty good for this. And then with rotation, I think we're good for just that. We can add all the effects onto this. So we're going to go over to effects and presets. And the first thing I'm going to add is turbulence displays, because it looked like he had that on there. I'm going to change the size of it a little bit so it's a little bit smaller. Looks a little bit more wavy on them. Keyframe size and amount. You can even do evolution if you want to keyframe that. And then we can make the amount pretty strong here, maybe something like 65. We'll go look at the keyframes too. It's always helpful to do that while you're editing. And I am on the 11th frame right now, so the middle frame. Maybe have the evolution do something here. And then we can go to the first frame. And then we can go here and add the amount to 0. Maybe keyframe the evolution back to 0. And then go to the last frame and do the same thing. Amount 0. And then evolution, maybe you just move it a little bit more. And you can highlight all these keyframes and ease them. Something like that. Maybe add a little bit more turbulence displays here. Make the size a little bit bigger. And this doesn't need to be keyframed. And then maybe the amount a little bit more as well. So there we are. We'll do that. And then I'm going to add some sapphire glow onto it and turn on the brightness to like 0.5. That way it's a little bit more of a glow behind him. I think some blur would look good too. We could do some Gaussian blur, I think. And then click keyframe here. And then I always repeat edges. Add a little bit of blur. Maybe something like 6. Nothing too crazy. Then reset it there and reset it on the last frame. And I think I could use a little bit more blur, so maybe something like 10. That looks pretty good. Just want to pull up and kind of see what I'm trying to make. I already kind of forgot since it's so crazy. All right. So yeah, he definitely has a lot more blur and like wave warp. We could add let's add some wave warp to it. And go to the 11th frame again. And we can make the wave width something large, and then the height maybe something like 3. And we can keyframe those two and go to the beginning and maybe do height 0. Actually, we don't need to keyframe width, I don't think. And then at the end, we can make the height 0 again. So it's just going to add a little bit more of that wave to it. Now that's looking pretty good for the clone. So what we can do is just Control D and duplicate that layer. So now we have another layer of the clone, and it's going to be in the exact same spot. So what you want to do is open up the transform tools, go to the 11th keyframe or your middle frame, and then you can go ahead and move it to somewhere else, like on this side, And then you can also just make sure you're on the same frame so you're not like messing up the keyframes. I'm gonna have it was -4, so I'm gonna have it rotate 4 this time, and then move it somewhere like that. So then here we are. We have a little bit of a, they both go out and kind of bounce. So I think that's pretty good for the clone. What we can go ahead and do is change the background color. So maybe type in change color. I think this is probably how I would do it. Change color 2 and drag that onto the background layer. So the last layer, this would be the one that's just the completely normal clip. And then you can go ahead and select a color that you want to use and then go and then change it to whatever color you want. So let's do purple. And I recommend turning up the softness a lot, and then you can just play with the hue. And honestly, we can make just the whole background purple. And I think they had it like normal color at first and then go to purple and then back. So let's do something like that. Go in 11 frames. So keyframe in hue to 0 and then turn it to 100. And then going to the last frame and back to 0. See what that looks like. And you get that change. Let's go ahead and easy ease that. Click on the keyframes, easy ease. And there we go. We got a little bit of effect like that. What I would do to sell the effect even more is just, so click on all the clips holding control and then pre-compose it. And then I would go ahead and go into effects and presets. We could use chromatic aberrations here. And I think that's looking pretty cool already. I think I caught the camera right when it died. Hopefully that works. That looks pretty cool. Let's do distortion, like we could keyframe it. I think they actually had it a little bit different here. They had it like a little bit more distorted at the beginning, and then like in the middle of the effect it was less distorted. So we can go to like 1, and then at the end of the effect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and look at what they did just so I can kind of see if there's anything else I can really add. Now, so I definitely had my chromatic aberrations go like a lot crazier than theirs. This is pretty much just to show you how to do an effect like it. Like I said, again, the only way to really tell what these guys did is pretty much look at the project files. Also, looking back at it, I kind of want to add something to, I think they added the same effect to the top layer. So copy and paste all the effects actually. You can go to the first frame, copy and paste, and then go to the top layer and paste that. And then maybe make the actual effects on that layer, what I would do if it was my edit, a little bit less. So we can just go through and the amount of turbulence displace, make it like a lot less than the other one. Scroll down until we see Gaussian blur. Make that a lot less, maybe something like 5. And then wave height here, just make it like 1. So basically just making the effect a little less intense on the top layer. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys want some more effects, maybe I can spend a little bit more time breaking down some of these, because I'd be recording for hours if I tried to break down all these effects, because they are like very crazy. And I mean, they had 6 people editing the music video, so it makes sense. Again, shout out to all these guys here. I think Nitetive, I don't want to say he did the whole project, but I think he did a majority of these effects because they're like really his style. I've also seen a lot of Visualzjr's stuff. They seem like the ones that were doing the rotoscoping and stuff. I could be wrong though, so I don't want to just say that they did it all. But just from what I've seen, they're kind of like into those effects. If you made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate you. Thank you for that. If you haven't liked, comment, and subscribed already, go ahead and do that. I'm going to include the link to Lumbyst, so all of the videos that are already out in the description, and then it's going to have all the videos that are future to come. So definitely pin that playlist or add it or whatever you do on YouTube. But save that playlist because there's a lot of knowledge in there. I'm going to be breaking down a lot more videos this month, so definitely stay up to date with that. If you have a tutorial idea, leave it in the comments below. Or if you want, you can DM me on Instagram with like a link to the actual music video, whatever works. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the video. Peace.